Look at all this candy we've collected. Time to figure out what to keep and what to share. Anyone else have a sweet tooth problem? Took my cat Lucia to the vet today. She was so brave, way calmer than I was, honestly. Nothing beats catching up with friends over a few beers. These random hangouts are always the best. Coffee tastes so much better outside. This park is my new favorite breakfast spot. Got to see our local football star playing guitar before he leaves town. Monday's secret weapon, hot tea. My furry supervisor judges every keystroke. The city has that moment when winter finally admits defeat. The streets feel different, like they're exhaling after months of cold. Do you feel it too? The turning point where spring finally arrives. Ever found yourself with a mountain of candy that somehow accumulated? There is something therapeutic about organizing sweet chaos. This pile represents every "I'll grab this for later" moment. What does your candy selection say about you? Mine says I have zero self-control around chocolate. When the universe conspires against your gym schedule, you adapt. The basement gym, that mysterious realm where equipment seems odd but somehow more authentic. Have you noticed how different your mindset becomes in unexpected places? There is something raw about a basement gym that fancy facilities can't match. There is a special anxiety reserved for pet owners in veterinary waiting rooms. That moment when you try to silently communicate "everything will be okay" to a creature who doesn't understand why they're there. But Lucia, she rewrote the script today. Have you ever been genuinely impressed by someone a fraction of your size? The vet called her the perfect patient. No hissing, no scratching, just acceptance. Standing right there in the exam room, I realized something. We underestimate cats. They sense our concern, they feel our care. Sometimes they make things easier for us. So we have some tablets, we have also spray, and that's our total amount for today's visit. Morning walk with a Dr. Pepper instead of coffee. There is something peaceful about exploring the neighborhood as the city wakes up. The architecture here tells stories if you slow down enough to notice. Each building and street corner has its own character. Have you ever walked without headphones, just taking in the sounds around you? The combination of fizzy soda, birds singing, and the quiet hum of a neighborhood coming to life creates its own kind of meditation. Just walking around in the morning, drinking my cola orange cream, minding my own business. They say patience is a virtue, but have you watched someone arrange each piece of sushi before taking the first bite? Tonight's dinner wasn't just food, it was a ritual. The mysterious blanket lump that purrs. Scientists can't explain why cats become more like a dawn. What secret universe does Lucia visit in her blanket fortress? Different time, same streets, new perspective. Familiar places are never be the same twice. Afternoon light reveals what morning sun kept hidden. There is something hypnotic about watching morning routine compressed. The dance between preparation and consumption, steps we take before our brains fully awaken. This breakfast ritual has become my anchor, the one consistent thing regardless of what follows. The movements are automatic now, a choreographed performance with eggs and coffee. Wanna see how Lucy is crazy about her food? Give me 1 second. Have you witnessed the pure enthusiasm of a cat who thinks this might be their final meal? Lucia approaches her food bowl with the determination of an Olympic athlete. The fascinating part isn't just her speed, it's her genuine concern that each piece might escape if not immediately swallowed. No chewing, straight to the stomach, both concerning and impressive. The iron doesn't lie. That's the beauty of the gym, one of the few places where effort and results remain brutally honest. Have you noticed how time bends during a workout? These 19 seconds represent almost an hour, but it felt both longer and shorter simultaneously. What conversations matter most? The planned ones or these the spontaneous meetups where phones stay in pockets? There is something special about sitting around a table with friends. Golden hour magic transforms ordinary corners. The modern ritual before any journey, filling up, not glamorous but necessary preparation. What's your round trip essential that nobody else understands? Ever wonder about the stories behind businesses you drive past? Today, one invited me in. A new beginning, nervous energy, proud honors universal elements of any grand opening. Coffee snobs would be horrified, but there is honest charm to instant coffee. No pretension, just hot water and promised caffeine. Have you found yourself watching the swirls as you stir? Those hypnotic seconds before first sip, a tiny meditation that most experience without noticing. Weekend escape begins. Notice how differently we walk toward freedom. The most Canadian ritual, teenies before adventure. We have black coffee and some donuts. Some combinations transcend the ingredients. Coffee that would be ordinary in your kitchen somehow tastes profound when sipped outdoors. Have you ever noticed how time slows down when you're surrounded by nothing but trees? The world operates on a different clock out here, measured in bird calls and shifting shadows. What if we brought this peace back to our everyday lives? These moments of stillness aren't luxuries, they are necessities disguised as simple pleasures. There is something thrilling about walking where you normally shouldn't be able to. Each step on this frozen pond comes with childlike excitement, breaking an unspoken rule with nature's permission. Have you ever thought about how many have stood exactly where you are now? Winter creates these temporary pathways.
You know, I drove only like half an hour from the city, and being in park, away from highways, from all the city noise, it's so cool, it's so peaceful, it's so quiet. You know, not like city quiet during morning hours or evening hours. No, there is only a few people, and it's really so quiet. Wow.
The forest has a way of making your problems seem smaller. Work deadlines shrink when placed against trees that have witnessed centuries. What conversations do you have with yourself when nobody else is around? These solo walks create space for thoughts that can't form in noisier environments. Sometimes I wonder if we are drawn to forests because they remind us of a pace we've forgotten, a rhythm that feels foreign in daily life but familiar to something deeper in us. Human ingenuity at its most practical, a space for gathering, protected yet connected to nature. Empty now, but you can hear echoes of future summer barbecues and family reunions. What spaces in your life are currently in their off-season? Places waiting patiently for warmth to return. The wild never fully disappears from our cities, it just adapts. This little ambassador seems just as curious about me as I'm about it. Have you noticed how encountering wildlife, even a squirrel, still pauses your thoughts completely? For a moment you're just watching, present. The transition from nature back to civilization. These boundary points often go unnoticed, but they are worth acknowledging. So guys, we've made it. We walked around 6.5 kilometers and thank you for being such a good company during this walk. There is something satisfying about an empty parking level, a space designed for dozens, temporarily yours alone, like having your own concrete kingdom. Ever had the fleeting thought to dance or to stand in the exact center? The controversial art of the Sunday work session. Some call it sacred time invaded by obligation. Working from home on weekends has its own quiet rhythm. Some moments feel perfectly scripted, like we wandered onto a Hallmark movie set. Tonight was exactly that, an NHL player beloved by fans saying farewell through music instead of words. Have you ever witnessed someone's talent in a completely different arena? His teammates showed up not for the hockey star, but for their friend. The atmosphere shifted when they walked in, creating this bubble of genuine connection. This wasn't random, it was a scene straight from a heartwarming film where the hometown hero reveals hidden depths. These unplanned Hallmark moments become the stories we tell years later.
Doing all the swinging and fighting.
Is there a more perfect late-night meal than chicken and waffles? After witnessing something special, even food tastes different. Have you noticed how shared experience creates a temporary connection, even with people you barely know? What better way to end a week than with comfort food? If this were a movie, end credits would roll over this scene. Pizza delivered, week complete. Sometimes the perfect ending isn't complicated.